Well, it's been time to put on the stream again, as they always. Someone was in the comments. Well, it's Brownie, as always. And we have this goofball.
Hello.
How you doing today?
Well, my throat hurts a little bit, but other than that, I'm doing alright. And my profile's not showing up on the stream. Cool.
Yeah, that was a little bit surprising, but even especially when Brianna showed up yesterday. Um, After the stream was over, when I went
Hold on,
through
I'm
it,
gonna be Deanna for a second.
um, I noticed that her profile was not even there for the most part of this. Well, until she came back later, but in the first time she was there, it says not showing. Well, we have Brony and we have Kuvo the Bad Goofball.
Ore, Sanjo.
Yeah, it's not showing my actual thing, so that's just great.
Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm actually the first time. I think even I think even my profile hasn't even appeared as someone on my some other streams, so now I've been. I don't know. I mean, I have been seeing that some other people, sort of, some of our friends have been doing streams, like say Prince Chaos. Um, I know that some two past streams that he has done is where he was actually gaming or some sort of shooting game, but I I couldn't tell exactly which one since um I mean, to be fair, there is tons of shooting games out there these days, and but if I were to guess, probably Call of Duty. And I had never even played Call of Duty, and well, I think the last shooting game I ever played was probably Doom, the original game that came out in the late 90s. But I also did once at a time played a Star Wars game, but I can't remember exactly which one since but they have made so many over the years. But the one that I played was probably released sometimes in the 90s and early 2000s. Um, I had tried to figure out exactly which one it is since think though I have what is called Star Wars Bible. Not as an actual Bible like the Holy Bible, but it's called Star Wars Bible for some reason. I don't know why. And it showed a lot of these games from the start until I think it was 2018 or 19, I believe is where the last one was. And in that game, you had two weapons, a blaster and a lightsaber. And if I remember correctly, the color was actually green on the light blade, on the actual blade. But um, I did actually play some Donkey Kong on the Nintendo 64. Uh, well, not actually mine, but it was my aunt's actually. But I doubt she even have it anymore since she moved away for to another place quite recently. So, um, yeah, Doom is actually a cool game. I mean, the original game was okay. Here is the one zombie game that the most only that I ever actually played. Um, House of Dead, which has actually been even made two movies actually. First original and a sequel. Either this well in that House of Dead. Well, what to say? That zombie game is well, it's especially it particular It's mainly is about so some form of agent has been sent to this type of facility where um, this doctor had been complete had went complete insane. He has been doing some very much gruesome experiments, turning people to zombies, and um, he even made some form of flying creature in the end, which he said that he's going to control, but this creature had this mind of its own and killed its own creation, the creator. But
Ooh,
a movie based on this on the first game um, was taking place on where some group of teenagers having a party on an island. If I remember, the island is known as Island de Morta or the Island of Death, which, and according to the local legend in in a movie though, that this Spanish conquistadors came to this island and they have a prisoner, a priest, claimed to be immortal. And basically how that many people turn up being murdered throughout the movie. Teenagers been died, and one of them was actually for some reason turned immortal, and she did end up in the second movie. Um, I never saw the sequel, and never going to either. Though, how much are you? How much you guys so much for horror movies?
Dope.
Brony, are you ready for horror movies?
for the first time when I was a children, I was watching Resident Evil.
Hmm. I mean, I have seen a lot of. Uh, I actually saw a lot of horror movies even as a kid. And even though I was just could have been from I don't know maybe 7 to almost 10 before I even knew the language in English. I could have seen, even despite I could read, there were subtitles. Um, One of the movies that I actually did see, both the original, both the remake and the sequel, um, House on the Haunted Hill. That one, I don't tell you, um, it's pretty gruesome if I had to say as much. Basically, it's a mental asylum for criminal, insane people. This there was a surgeon. He opened this asylum for to suppose treat those people, but instead he ended up doing some very unspeakable crimes, unspeakable experiments on these people. But here's the thing: there were a patient revolt against the patients. They, for some reason, how were made this rebellion or revolt against the staff, killing everyone except 5 people managed to survive. Um, but the doctor had this type of top and art, state of art, protection system. Like if something would happen, he had this like metal plates covering every single entrance, like windows or doors, and no one could even get out. And that building remained standing abandoned for years until a man who was working with an amusement park, um, he had bought it and had part of the station been restored, at least part of it though. And it's where, well, let's say it's most of that movie where um, well, basically, this particular man also were going to celebrate his wife's birthday at this place, and he had made a list of 5 more people to show up. But after he left his office, the computer of the name of the people that's going to be invited was erased, and 5 new additional names for it was instead been replaced in original names. And and the one who actually should place those names were apparently the ghosts of the surgeon. And I can say those people that was being on the list were actually related to 5 of the staff that survived the massacre at the institution,
Uh-huh.
except one. Except one of them was actually not biologically related. He was only adopted in their family, but that the ghost couldn't even have known it otherwise. So basically, these people were offered $1 million each if they could spend one night at this place. But some
Oh,
reason, yeah. Long story short, every single one of these people were actually murdered,
of
including
course.
the only except two people where it's not murdered that end up being killed. The black man, which was apparently the adopted child on the list. Well, he was an adult at the time, and a woman. They managed to escape, um, but turned out in the basement of this place, where it had this entity. It had this um, really much had this um, uh, it has this type of entity that was undescribable, but it kind of remind me of like a black mist uh, shape with faces on it. And this was actually the main reason why the surgeon of that particular doctor went insane. And but the man the one who tried to restore this place for his wife's birthday, he died. But he this safety fail-safe protocol, the mechanism was still operational even despite after almost 80 years or so. But that was somehow recently was end up locked, and the only way to open it was from the top level of the tower of the building. And the ghost of the man who was the husband, he managed to grab some I think it was type of ropes and let those two people who survived to escape. And the sequel where the sister of this woman who survived in the first movie showed up. She was actually approached. She was approached by a man who wanted to get this particular item that was somehow stored in this old asylum, which still, for some reason, was still there. And he had this lies of story that this was made of a monk or something. It's just how it end up being as um, it's just um, well, it turned out that item or an idol, which is called, couldn't be destroyed. That one was actually the main source why the doctor, this particular surgeon in the first movie, became such violent, or this uh, well, undescribable killer. But after this young woman's sister managed to throw this statue away, or small item, what it was, it actually did the ghost of the patient that was still there. They could actually attack, and they somehow dragged the killer, this old doctor, with them.
Whoa.
Yeah, and they actually the patients, they didn't attack on other people on purpose. because they were controlled even by the doctor's spirit, even in the afterlife. But after this item was gone, they were no longer under this. The spirit of this old doctor was no longer in the control anymore. Without this item, he could not control the spirits, and they could attack him.
Um,
And the,
seems you're having a hater on your comment. I just saw it, so I thought I should warn you.
yeah, and even Dashi said that he can't join in because of my laptop fan working on it sometimes. Sometimes it's not working properly. Also trying to get my Windows 7 tower working so I can use the stream.
Why TBR's Selkin blocked for 5 minutes?
Hater.
I wasn't even paying attention to
He
that.
was posting hater comments.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't even know what actually this person what meant about. I didn't like your video. I mean, I don't know what exactly which
Basically,
one.
he said Swedish video were bad, and then he gave him the finger and all that.
Did he actually?
Yep.
Yeah, that was actually an emoji for that.
Well, I wasn't sure. You know how Kofu likes to
But
hype
okay,
it up
first,
sometimes. But
okay, first, Kubo, it could have also not been that this person may not have been, perhaps it wasn't about for me. What if it was actually by you?
Me?
Yeah, the person that since the person never actually said who it's gonna be focused on, it could have been you, me, perhaps even Dashi. I don't know. I know at least one thing: Game Guy is not for because he has never done any videos.
I've done streams.
Dreamer,
And also nobody would hate Game Guy.
yeah, and
I'm
Brony
pretty
Dreamer,
sure
I
Game Guy
don't
would not
know.
have- I'm pretty sure Game Guy has no enemies, as far as I know.
No. And the Brony Dreamer, I don't know if he has any videos on his channel. So
I mean, he does make streams now.
that's another thing. But about a day, about I think it was 2 days ago, I went to Game Guy's channel. It doesn't even show anything about his streams on if he's streaming on YouTube.
Wait, so that means he
Wait,
did
so
not.
my streams don't show up?
Nope.
Well, I think you have to direct the stream to YouTube before you actually stream.
But I do.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't. When I start my streams, I don't even actually focus on putting it exactly where it's going to be streamed. But after I've done it so many times, I don't think maybe it's automatically. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says I have my 4 streams that I did, but I don't know why it's not showing up for you, and it's showing up for me. But that's a little weird.
Probably.
Oh, well.
I mean, I even actually made a new playlist on my channel that contains my game show streams, but oh boy,
What?
they didn't end up in a number order, like from number 2, 3, and
really?
onwards.
I mean, to be fair, it would be impossible to keep count of how many game show streams you did.
They're like 2, 8. So it's like afterwards. But honestly, I don't care. As long as they're in a playlist, then I don't mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I am even currently working on a new story.
Also, I just noticed, even though I have a channel for years, I never had made even one playlist.
Yeah, I mean, I have several playlists actually.
I mean, to be fair, playlist does kind of help people to find most of your videos, but to be fair, I don't really like sort my videos because most of them are pretty much the same. Because it's music. Some of them are sips, some of them are expository videos and all that.
Yeah, I mean the most of my playlist I have, the one who has the most videos is the My Little Pony True Love, which about I think almost 650.
Yeah.
But honestly though, I still have on one of my flash drives, I have probably over like a dozen of stories on them, but it's mixed, both non-MLP and MLP stories. But most of them are actually audio stories. But I'm I'm actually currently working on a new story. It's a Sonic
Yeah.
story.
Oh.
I'm actually yeah, I'm actually halfway through the story already. It's gonna be around 30 minutes. With the text and music, and I don't know exactly when that will be uploaded, to be honest. But just it could be sometimes next week or so.
Yeah.
I mean, as even like Dash said that I should be doing, especially on like Christmas time. Um, when I had made a Christmas story for him as a gift, he suggested that I should do that story for him as a Christmas gift, and the other one I could post at any time. But I never
Yeah.
did that because I was in a tight schedule. Because since I had to do like 13 total stories for a total of 13 friends, and
Yeah.
and since most of them were audio, and and especially when I asked when I told Ashi, he asked me to do a story for him, and when I did told him that the story was done, he assumed that the story that he had asked for, but there wasn't. There was a story that Malachite had asked me to do.
Oh.
Yeah, and let's see that I was a little frustrated that I tried to explain it to Tadashi 3 freaking times.
I mean, to be fair, no offense to Dashi, but he is kind of frustrating sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, but Dashi
Especially that
also
one time where he assumed that I was, you know what?
yeah, but Dashi said that it also because he forgot about the press, forgot about the position since he had this um what he said before that he has his brain tumor and that he is easily forgettable. Yeah, okay. I can understand a brain tumor can causing someone actually to be
Cody the Dark Hog, what are you doing in the comments?
probably his phone can probably isn't working is probably. Am I right, Cody the crackhead?
If you could only
Cody,
see him in the comments,
Cody the shit stain. What are you doing here? That's my
Cody,
retort for
get
you
your
calling us
ass.
shitheads, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Cody,
well,
get your butt in here, or otherwise I will send a nuke on your ass.
No, let's
yeah,
send
get your
Roy.
hot dog ass here. I had to call him a hot dog because it reminds me of that his name.
Yeah, but like Steven like said, that Dashi was yeah, I can understand that like I said, that brain tumor can affecting someone's memory, but it also like depends on where in the brain it sits and how big it is, and I know that
Yeah,
it can affect someone's mental state.
yeah.
And
Also,
I mean, even
also,
also
yeah,
another thing.
yeah.
Another thing is about that is said that I should focus on I should do my stories as other people put. I almost like put my those stories on the side so that I can actually um just focus on the
Cody's
stories that
phone
I.
got deactivated.
Yeah, that sucks, dude.
Wait,
um,
I didn't know we could deactivate a phone.
No, no, no.
don't know if there's any like a smartphone. Don't ask me, because I don't even have one, and never will for next few several years.
I mean, we could ask
If it's
Genga.
if
He's an
it's a
expert in
smartphone,
phones.
don't ask me because you know how my technology is terrible.
I was going to say we could ask Genga because you're an expert in phones.
No, I'm not. Maybe I'm an expert in phones, but phones aren't an expert in me.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna do this. Magic 8 block. Will Cody's phone ever get fixed? I want to
You're
see if it
still
says anything.
doing that?
Uh, and,
You're still
and
doing that?
Cody, guess this. We did
Wowzer, I'll look good.
play Super Million yesterday. We had a question that involved the Magic 8 Ball, where when it was invented, 1946. Let's say this: Kovo had never even heard of the Magic Ball ever.
I did
And both
not,
they
but
did.
it
It
was
said
an
block.
actual
It's a lucky
surprise
block
for
from
me.
Mario. It's weird.
Like I was like, huh? What the heck is that? And all the others were like, what the? What do you mean? What is that?
At least some of you've heard of an 8 ball in billiards.
Well,
In
yeah.
what?
I mean, I have seen those in
No,
movies.
I meant Kovo.
An 8 ball in what?
Billiards or pool.
Oh yeah, I seen that.
Well, they're
Even though I never
they're
played
basically
pool,
the
'cause-
same. They're literally the same thing, except there's a small window at the bottom that gives you answers depending on what you ask it.
No,
I
I
guess
never played pool because I think it's a boring game.
You take that back.
But come on, you can tell me you're still playing pool at your age.
Dude,
Even
you can play pool
Pool's a
even
fun
as a
game.
you can
Also, I'm
play
calling this
pool
billiards.
even as a you can
Better.
even play pool even if you're 100-year-old.
wait, what?
Yeah, it ain't,
Pool
it
doesn't
ain't
even-
a kids game, you know. People play pool
Yeah,
or billiards
doesn't
or
even
whatever they call
have
it all the time.
I wasn't saying as in you're old, but like like it's your. I feel like pool is like an old game, like and
Dude,
game from
okay.
older people.
Dude. Be glad that you were not at the bar because most American bars have those at those places. And a lot of people play that. If you've been saying that right in some other people's faces, and especially those who are playing hurting it, trust me, you would not be in a happy ending, especially if there's a fake bikers play the game. Those, dude, I'm serious. And I can say this: there is actually some people play bets who would actually can beat you in a game in a polo game.
Huh? I never heard of
I
that.
actually, yeah, mostly people just and and if I remember correctly, I think there's even some sort of world championship in pool. I think it is. And like, okay, this was to me was the most weirdest world championship game ever. Pumpkin throw.
What?
Yeah, I saw this on the TV years ago. That in America they had this type of competition. They had this catapults and they throwing pumpkins and have that as even as a world championship.
I don't know why
Outlook.
hearing that makes me think of that one scene where Shining Armor throws cadence like a javelin.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I was like, seriously, pumpkin as a throwing pumpkins with catapults as a world championship. That must have been the most strangest world championship game I ever seen.
As long as,
But you're
as
not the
nobody,
one that throws the pumpkin. It's a catapult.
Yeah,
as long as nobody invents
It
like
feels like it doesn't really
crazy
count.
one.
though I mean, to be fair, there are tons of different games around the world. That's I mean, like rowing boats or canoes or wrestling. Consider for one thing. I mean, consider from this.
What
The
is
first, okay, consider from this. The very first Olympic Games that happened in the around 300 BC or like that, they had most of the modern games that we have today was not even part of the original. But they actually only play for like 4 years, every 4 years, like we are. But eventually, it became illegal or it was banned
Oh,
after the last day the game were banned. the Olympic Games wasn't even played until like in the sometimes in 1800s.
Hmm.
Ever since then, the game has been replayed every 4 years, except there has been a few times through history when the Olympic Games was not played. First was 1914,
Hmm.
or was it 16 when the First World War happened, and another one was during the Second World War too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that Sweden actually had also uh, been had host the Olympic Games once. I believe that Scotland actually consisted the host at the Olympic Games, if I remember correctly. But I know that London of the United Kingdom actually hosted the Olympic Games more than once.
Hmm.
And I can say this since you guys probably know this Paralympics.
What?
Have you guys ever heard of Paralympics?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure I know
It's,
what it is.
well, it's basically it's Olympic Games for the disables.
Oh, wait, we have that in here at Montreal.
Yeah, and we actually had it as Sweden hasn't even hosted that any of those games, as far as I know, at least. I know that, but I had two friends who actually took part in two different ones. One, my oldest best friend actually were in Los Angeles when they have this that one there, and he played in bowling, took gold and silver. And then his younger brother, who actually also took part in the one who was in Abu Dhabi in Dubai, only but before the COVID actually happened, he took both gold and silver in bowling. And I can say, if I were to play against any of those in bowling myself, I wouldn't even stand a chance. I mean, they actually have they. His younger brother has when he threw the bowling ball. It well, I can say this. It can turn and it's almost by the edge to have almost fell off on the lane, but instead it turned inwards and he could get a strike from that. And it's something I really have no idea though. And I think um, each of the brothers actually have, I believe, was it 6 or 7 bowling balls each. And I would say bowling balls, you can actually buy those and have them been customized to fit your fingers and the weight of those. Um, it can cost you like I think here would be I think maybe 2 or 3 thousand. I
Do
don't.
you think you'd be able to do like the weight tossing thing of the Olympics?
Um.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, if you want to be part of this Paralympics, that's been plenty games, you have to been had to go through some trials, or well, like more has been chosen though. I had never even been chosen for that, but honestly, I don't even care. But but if they would have a Paralympics in the US one more time, and it's like in Michigan State, I'd be like killing two birds with one stone. You know why? Because my girlfriend lives in that state,
oh, I should have
and
seen that
so
coming.
yeah, so I could spend time with her during the time I spend there, and yeah, and Alexis says, at least I'm enjoying my coffee time.
Yeah, I'm seeing the comment as well. Also, hi, Gamer Alien. Welcome to the stream.
Coffee? Honestly, I really don't like it.
Well, I'm drinking one now. It's not a coffee, it's a iced cappuccino, but it's good.
Mm, I mean, iced Tito? Mm-mm-mm. That I do like.
Oh, shit.
You alright over there?
Yeah, I almost done myself accidentally, but I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, considering about this, how things have been happening for us all over the past few years, like with COVID. Um, Considering that if COVID never happened, a lot of things would have been changed. I mean, first, during the first 2 years of COVID, I know that people were, this lockdown procedures. You were not even allowed to go anywhere. At most, people would have to be doing online schoolings. I know there were at least a few countries in the world, like Italy. They had their entire country in a lockdown, and
Yeah.
and I know that Mallorca, the island in the Mediterranean Sea, um, they actually, I saw the clip. There were two police officers. They
What, Golden?
drove around. They
What did I
drove around. These big officers, they drove around in the city, and sometimes they even stepped out of the car, and one of them actually were playing a guitar for people to light up the mood for those who were in a lockdown. And especially in Italy, people was actually have their windows open, and some were actually playing Italy's national anthem to spread the word that you're not alone, that we would stand all this together. So when standing together, we will beat this virus. And yeah,
Yeah.
and Sweden though, we never had any form of lockdown whatsoever. We can walk around freely, and those obligations that we wearing face mask never even happened. Never even was never issued. But people did wear some face mask, of course. But there was not a mandate that everyone was forced to. But at one time when I was at work, I was had to force to be wearing one. But it was only for a short time, and after that, I didn't need to. And I don't know if you guys know this, but only about a few days ago, U.S. actually somehow have figured. They believe that they figured out the cause of the virus originally. They believe now, but I also should mention this also was rumored way much earlier than that. But they now strongly believe the virus was actually not released, uh, since it was the first originally found in Wuhan province. As first believed, it was this open animal market was the ground zero for the virus originally. But it may not have been that. The main ground zero may have been a Chinese lab. Even despite, here's the thing why I think that's not even possible otherwise, because the World Health Organization, also for short note, as to the WHO, actually did some research, and they declared as confirmed there was not such a thing as the Chinese that didn't release the virus in public. I mean, even if this was released from a lab officially, the main question to be still been asked or to answer if this virus was naturally or was man-made. Because if this was a man-made and they released this virus on purpose, here's what things that goes against that idea. It's because why would they release this virus on their own people for all place? I mean, were the Chinese government really that crazy to release the virus on purpose, and even knowing how deadly it could have been, and knowing how even though it didn't have this high mortality rate, it was around maybe 0.1 or 3%, and that's low. But would they be even willing risk to infect their own population? Even the risk at even though there was a risk of thousands or even millions of Chinese people could die from it. And here's another product that was going against that. It's because China's population number is not increasing. It's in fact declining. For years, they had the highest number of people on population, 1.4 billion, with only India only one step behind them with 1.3 billion. But for many years, China actually had this mandated law that you were allowed to have you had to allow 3 kids, then 2 kids, then one. Now you're allowed to have as many as you wanted. Because they removed that after they discovered their population had declining. And so why would the Chinese government, if this virus was naturally or man-made, release it on the public on purpose? It doesn't even add up at that. Considering, I mean, do you think since their own after their own estimation, the population is declining then in numbers? So why would they estimate? Why? So even this virus wasn't released on purpose, but if they were, it doesn't even add up. Because there's no government that's wanted to release a deadly virus in their own population and it was known at how many people could die from it. But since they wanted to increase their population, not making them losing numbers of people, that wouldn't even add up. So if this virus gets naturally and it was leaked by accident, okay, that would make more sense. Because there is no serious government in the world that would release a virus on purpose, knowing if this virus could kill 20 or even as 80% of its own population. I mean, think about it. If US had this, there are many conspiracy theorists that speculate that even US government is working on super virus by some form of bio warfare, and this virus couldn't, if it was escaped or been released, what if that they knowing how deadly is this virus, what if this so could have been so it's 10 or maybe it's 20% deadly, meaning every single other treatment, any antibiotics would not even work at all. And that by the end of the year, what if 50 or 60% of an entire American population had been found dead? Think about it. There's no serious government would even want to work on a virus and release its own population. I mean, okay, if they did that on a small scale to see how people reacted to this virus, and cover up, I doubt it. I mean, even Stalin, he had many conspiracy theories. He wanted to create a super soldier army, and it was actually in the 1920s. He wanted to have his super honored soldiers by impregnated several women with chimpanzee and gorilla DNA in order to get them have this army, but the project was a complete failure because it didn't work. I mean, despite that the chimpanzee are 99% close related to us, it doesn't even work. Think you've seen that. I mean, you probably had not known that a lot of people thinks that U.S. government is directly responsible for many of or it has been all aware of alien has been on Earth for years.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing: Area 51 until 2008, according to the law or according to the U.S. government, the base didn't even exist. Despite if you were flying over that area by a satellite or even a plane or anything, you could see clearly there's a base on that location. But if you approach government, they would deny that this doesn't even exist. There's nothing out there, just empty desert. But it wasn't until Barack Obama, he announced the base did exist. And even Roswell, 1947, when the supposed alleged crash of the alien ship crashed there and that the ship was taken to the base. Here's one thing. The day of this crash, the government or the military actually announced this wasn't some form of a craft that crashed in there, but the next day after that, they withdraw the claims and said it was just as a normal weather balloon. Cause was the ones who is behind this. But what most people don't know that crash of the alleged aliens was not the first one in that area during that same year. There were supposed to be reported as at least a half a dozen of other ships has been seen either landed on the ground in vicinity of Roswell, of that crash site, around only a few days before and a few days after. Think about it. And now, only about some years ago, the U.S. Air Force actually went out, actually released, and they officially announced that they had captured several strange objects while pilots were flying next to them. Here's one of those items that they've seen. It kind of it's in a shape almost like a classic alien saucer, but only the difference. The pilot was flying F-16, which is one of the fastest U.S. planes so far that is still in service. And the pilots recording this. And this was like a night vision camera. Around the vessel, it was light white color, which means that it was actually cold. And this craft, it was spinning in middle air, in high set, but it was. You may think that I was slightly changing, like no, it was so fast spinning in that fast speed. It will be in such strong G forces, and that forces of the gravity forces was also known as would have been too strong, too powerful for even a human pilot. Because if a human would have been had exposed to that type of G forces, they had either been dead or it's just knocked out unconscious. There's no way, and even the U.S. government actually even recognized this was not as any military project that was not even the U.S. government. And you may think that the Area 51 is the only place in the world that has been associated with alien craft. Oh no, China has one alleged to have one. Russia or Soviet had supposed to have this field and supposed to have craft that's been over a century old. But it's hard to say if that's actually real though. But despite now that pilot, also my thing, if a pilot had seen reported have seen this strange craft while flying, if he reported back to his supervisor or his superior, he'd have been ordered not to mention this to anyone, not even to other pilots, because he could have been court-martialed or he could have been discharged. He could be forced to leave the army, the military, completely. But now, when the U.S. government and the Air Force had officially announced that they are aware of this type of craft has been existing for years, not like 10 years, but it has been for several decades. Even people within MUFON, mutual unidentified UFO. I don't remember exactly what the organization's name, but this organization is named MUFON, and this actually is a civilian program or organization that's studying all kinds of things. There is even a famous sort of story of a UFO in UK actually, but most of those have been dismissed. Actually, have been a lighthouse light, and during that time, that Air Force base, or as also known as the Royal Air Force, 2 Americans was actually stationed there, and they were among the few people actually claimed to have seen this. And I do believe that aliens have been on Earth for years. I mean, there is okay, this might shock you, but back in the 1800s, when they discovered in an ancient pharaoh tomb, they found this bird, a wood bird, which they assumed was as a toy. But here's the thing: it wasn't, because it had this wings was thick near the body, but as it was getting out towards the end of the wings, it was getting more thinner, resembles as a modern plane wings, and the tail was like those rotor blade of a plane. And they actually assigned an expert. He actually made a modern copy, at least more larger version of this, and tested it in a wind tunnel. And according to this, his research, it could actually be flying real. And there were at least one other thing that's also even the scientist has not any idea. They actually found I don't remember exactly where. I think it was somewhere in Russia, in Siberia. They found nano-sized screws deep underground. But they were not even modern. They were prehistoric. And how does it even make sense? No one knows.
Yeah.
They were even supposed to have been somewhere in China. Some archaeological experts have found some metallic type pipes in a mountain. and those were not even modern or even those pipes are not from the 21st century, not the 20th century, not the 18th, not the 19th century. Those pipes are supposed to be at least expected to be as, I think, 10 or perhaps even 12,000 years old. It doesn't even add up whatsoever. Because unless the were Stone Age people have so smart enough making metal tools of pipe, but it doesn't add up. I mean, considering that, first of all, Stone Age, when people were still hunter gatherers, they weren't even having that time. We were not even permanent settlers, and even if there were any advanced people at the time, we would have found more evidence about them, like Atlantis, for all sake. Ah, man. And aliens. Game guy, do you believe in this stories of ancient aliens have been on Earth?
Not really.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, a lot of people assuming that even Aztecs, Mayan had visits from aliens. Egypt, it's the same thing because um, they don't know, and even um, even the Toltecs, that which predates both the Mayan and the Aztecs, they were also wondering how is it that they could have it. Oh, looks like Prince Chaos, the Chaos Hedgewolf, in the comments.
But hey, oh wait,
Hey, hello, mortals, he said. Well, let's say hello, you crazy maniac. But, I mean, assume from this. People that assume that ancient aliens have been on Earth for centuries or millennia. It's not impossible. I mean, considering how many things that's okay, the word might be surprising that in an I think it was actually in an Egyptian tomb where they found or a temple, they found inscriptions that was quite different. Two of them resembles a modern tank and a modern helicopter. And but some experts may think that just there was some wrong in the making of the symbols, and they covered up. But over time, that cover or the sand or something crumbled and revealed their original form again. I mean, I do believe that aliens have been on Earth, but even okay, Kubo, have you ever heard of crop circles?
of what?
Crop circles?
No.
Game guy, have you heard of those?
Oh yeah.
Well, is essentially as strange patterns in a crops fields, like circles and a lot of other strange patterns. They have only not only been appeared in England, but they have probably appeared all over the world. But here's the most of those. A lot of those has been declared as fake and hoax, and a lot of people actually came forward that they actually made those as some I don't know form of PR commercial or just done it for just a prank. But others can't be explained. Here's what I also heard. Some people assuming that there's believe that there's an ancient pyramid in Antarctica because they found something that has the same measurement of all four sides, and it actually looks like a pyramid. But a more actually a geologist a person that study the geology. I can't even pronounce the word. That studied rocks confirms it's not an actual pyramid. It's natural rock. It just have been weathered over time to form to get the shape. But if you've been as aliens, okay, you probably all of you may have seen a lot of alien movies, but if there's any alien you wanted to meet, who wanted to be?
I have no idea.
Well, there is only a few I would like to meet.
No, wait, hang on. I got it. I'd like to meet Lord of Sisyphus.
Oh, I know.
Oh, dude.
I would like to meet Kryptonians.
Who?
Kryptonian.
Huh?
I
Kryptonians.
think it's
You
a
know those
Kryptonian.
species of Superman.
Oh, you mean Kryptonian? Oh, yeah, like Superman or Supergirl. Um,
Oh, by the way,
yeah.
have you seen the Flash trailer?
Don't know. But the ones I would like to meet is E.T. and a Wookiee, like Chewbacca. Okay, how about you probably not even know this though. If Kuvu would have saved a Wookiee's life, that Wookiee would stay with him the rest of his life.
Wait, so Wookiees are loyal?
Uh-huh. Well, he wouldn't be your romantic partner is because in their
No, 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 no.
culture
Let's forget about that.
they have this in their culture they have this so-called life death. That's the reason why Chewbacca is with Han Solo. Because Han actually used to be an Imperial officer. Before he became a smuggler, he actually were serving the Empire as a pilot, as a lieutenant. But he came across this other Imperial officer who was beating Chewbacca with a whip. And
Oh,
he
God.
was, yeah, but Chewbacca was grateful and that he put his service to being able to pay off his debt. Sadly, in expanded universe, that never happened because Chewbacca died in the year 25 APY during the Yuzong Wong War, but his nephew Lobaka, which were at yet a night, he actually pledged to continue his uncle's life debt to the Solo family. And but in Canada, like in Force Awakens, it also ended when Kylo killed his own father. It's just going to say that. But I would love to have a Wookiee as a friend because if you really are pissed a Wookiee off, they can rip your arm off. And if they ripped an arm off a Trandoshan, after about a few weeks, that arm would have grown back.
Oh,
They can actually grow back their arms, tails, legs. I mean, I believe,
later.
yeah. I mean, I believe that the Bosk, which is a bounty hunter, um, I believe that Chewbacca ripped both his arms and legs off and took him weeks before they're growing back. So you're right, Bosk. You don't piss off a Wookiee. But there is one alien I would not like to meet.
Who? Wait, what? Which one?
Sarlacc.
Who?
This Sarlacc is a subterranean creature which is can live on there's one on Tatooine and some others on Felucia, as a jungle planet, and basically any other underworlds.
Oh,
If you were end up in their stomach, you would actually been there for the next 1,000 years because slowly being digested.
No.
yeah. Also,
Hmm.
another species of aliens that I would like to meet would be the Navi.
And also,
who
I
now?
think this, but also I should this, uh, if people died in a Sarlacc, their mind will join in the Sarlacc's mind, like a hive mind. And if you're referring to those blue aliens from Pandora, the Navi,
Yep,
from the Avatar movies,
yep, those ones.
uh, yeah, here's the one thing about that. Pandora is scientifically impossible to exist. Well,
Unless
by the
you're an Avatar.
uh, no, I mean the atmosphere of the planet of the moon of Pandora. It's scientifically impossible to exist because one of the gases on the planet, I say the planet, but one of the gases in the moon atmosphere is so dense. I think it's xenon gas, and having that almost 10% of its entire mix of the in the atmosphere, it's not physically possible for any humans or any species exist. It
Yeah.
doesn't. But the moon itself, with the environment, all with the size of the gravity, all that, that actually is possible. I mean, but a moon to be habitable around a gas giant or even an Earth-like rock planet. Let's say if let's say if Earth was like this, it still is, and the moon had an atmosphere, also could have been uh, habitable, meaning ocean and land. Think about it. If that's possible, it is. If a moon like Pandora can have life on it, even despite orbiting around a gas giant, is actually possible.
Oh,
Oh.
um,
Uh, well, there is a person in the comments named Tiki. She is a Ukrainian from actually Ukraine. Tiki, I can see how you feel about this about the war. Um, honestly, I was horrified. Well, I was shocked when I saw the news that Russia had invaded Ukraine. Here's my theory why they actually did it. Because way before this invasion happened,
yeah.
NATO, this defense alliance, had actually offered Ukraine to join it, but in response from Russia, they didn't want that because they were feeling threatened that they would put nuclear warheads along their borders directed towards Russia. Here's the thing: if a country would join NATO, they wouldn't have it. They would have been having an option if they even want to have any nuclear weapons in their country. If Sweden would join, is still in the process in hoping to join in the NATO. So far, it's Turkey, which is still in the make this impossible for us. But we had said that if we join in the NATO, we don't want to have any nuclear weapons being stationed or have any form of nuclear arsenal in our country. And that is one thing that the NATO would respect it. But
Hmm.
anyways, I do believe that since the Russia invaded Ukraine, um, but as the Russian president says, a special military operation. If anyone mentioned the word war about the Ukraine, they could either be in serious fine or up to 10 years in jail.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but
Just
here's
for
only one
mentioning
thing.
it,
hmm But here's one thing.
isn't that a bit
The Ru-
excessive?
Probably, but the Russian president is the only one who's actually said, even on national TV, about the word this is a war, not a special operation, and he's
Wow.
still untouchable. And tons of people in Russia, they wanted to escape. They there are tons of there are a majority of the people that's he's actually against this, but they can't do anything. And a lot of those people actually fled from Russia to Finland, and a lot of those people were actually just college or university students.
Hmm.
And since that happened, McDonald's, Starbucks had closed all their cafes, restaurants in Russia in response to this.
Yeah.
But but they were still paying their uh, uh, is still paying the people's payments or their salary.
See,
Alex, oh,
to be honest, is the first one that I actually see happen. I never seen any
mhm.
one of them before this
um,
one.
yeah, and Alexis, he's what you said. Let's hope Soviet Union doesn't return. Um, here's what I think. Um, I mean, Ukraine is. Here's the thing. Ukraine is not the only country in the world that has been threatened being taken over. Moldavia, a neighbor country, had also been threatened been potential be a target for the invasion.
Hmm.
And another thing is, I should mention, if the Russian president had this in mind that he want to take back every single land that used to belong to Soviet, here's the thing: it's impossible, and also it will cause serious problematic problems for him because Estonia, Latvia, Belarus, and half of Germany did belong to Soviet at one time. But here's what is the most problem in that. Estonia is a member of NATO. And if Russia would try to even take back the half of Germany from from the Germans, they would not respond any kind of that.
Hmm.
But I should also put this in mind. Recently, Russia had actually made a clear threat to my country.
What
They
to
would take,
Sweden?
yep, they had actually had made threats to take actions
Okay, what was the threat and why?
because of our help to the Ukraine of all that.
Dang it! So that means they're going after everyone that's gonna help them.
I will kick that guy's ass.
Pretty much. But here's the thing, though: the Russians actually had threatened my people, my country, many years before all this happened. They actually they crossed our airspace multiple times, and there was just not those normal civilian planes, but it's actual jet planes.
Hmm.
And they never responded much back to their being answered to request to leave, or you are entering our airspace. Leave like leave your attentions, like in, in message. Tell us what your purpose are here in our airspace, but they never did.
Yeah.
And another thing is they made a statement where more said that they could take over Sweden's biggest island in the Baltic Sea in a mere hours, which is not impossible considering at the time we didn't even have any form of military presence on the island. But after that statement, then the U.S. Sweden's defense department did send a lot more tanks and other uh, missile launcher systems to the island and more troops in order to make sure it. But still, having threatened my country because we want to help Ukraine during the war, it doesn't make sense. Considering how many other countries in the world have been helping Ukraine, like United States, they also have been
Yeah.
trying. You know this? Okay, how about this? I mean, what if if Russia decides to make some actions towards the United States? I
They would
mean,
be
by
down to
not
do that.
being, uh, well, first of all, they were being since the United States is the only remaining superpower in the world after the Cold War, since Russia used to be one as a Soviet. But the only thing I may think that's the only action would do is to send some. They would probably send forces and to take over Alaska to bring
Oh,
it back. Alaska used to belong to Russia at one point. They sold it to United States
wait,
in
you
the
can't
late
sell
19.
the country? Well, you can sell that city or something?
Uh, well, Alaska used to belong to Russia for a long time until like in the late 19th century or the late 1800s when they sold Alaska to United States.
Yeah.
And and if that happens, that the Russia will take some actions that they will reclaim Alaska as their land.
Hmm.
But still, though,
But the thing is, if they take a thing from the
well,
US,
here's the thing.
US might try
But
to.
here's the thing. But here's the thing. If Russia tried to reclaim Alaska, um, they wouldn't even meet much resistance because Alaska is the less populated state in the whole in the United States, which around 700,000 people, and majority lives in Anchorage, which is around 200,000 people. Sure, there's only like 9 United States bases in Alaska, but
Yeah.
I don't know how many of those bases are how they are equipped for any full-scale invasion of Alaska.
Yeah.
Another thing is, I don't think that if they manage to invade Alaska, I don't think that they will stop there. They probably try to push forwards inwards to as they call the lower 48s. They will try to invade the Washington state and perhaps even the rest of America.
I mean, is it like the US like the most powerful of the countries though nowadays?
I would say probably. I mean, they have a lot of you. I mean, they have a lot of. I mean, since America is the last or the only superpower in the world, and they also, I believe that America has um, is is the second country in the world which has the most nuclear weapons. I think
Yeah.
Russia has. I think Russia has more than the United States, but I can't be guaranteed on that if that's true or not. Since
Hmm.
happened a while when I read about that, but
Yeah.
still. But having a country like, I mean, having my country being threatened by Russia because during the Ukraine war, um, yeah, it's just think about it. Um, yeah, as Alexis said, the Cold War may happen back then. I'm um, uh, just I don't know what's going to happen. Actually, I'll be honest. But
Well, some of my friends theorize that because of Russia, we might go to a third world war,
probably
which
What the
would really suck, by the way, because that would be kind of.
here's
sad?
another thing, though. Yeah, go ahead.
But
Go ahead.
I was finishing Kovo's sentence. But my point, but here's my thing. When the when the space war happened, and everyone was going to the moon and stuff, it was Soviet Union against the U.S. and stuff, or whatever. I don't know if that's Russia or not, but at the end they were like, "Heck yeah, we got to the moon! High five!" But for some reason, I don't know. For some reason, people can, tolerate each other in space, but not on the actual planet. It's a little weird.
Oh, you mean the space race?
Yeah, the space race, not the war. What? There was no war in space. That'd be terrifying.
But here's another thing. If Russia tried to invade my country, that's the absolute worst thing they can do. Even though my country would not stand any chance. We probably be easily been taken over, but my country is neutral. Invading a neutral land is, well, let's say it's the absolute wrong thing to do. Well, take that the Germans. They invaded a neutral country during the beginning of their war, but
Yeah. So basically, his story is repeating itself.
well, at the moment though, we are still high alert, but no signs of anything like it. But to be honest, I'm not even scared. I'm not even scared that they made a threat to my country, because they don't even dare to do anything about it. They can make their threats as much as they wanted to, but they won't even do anything, because they know if they try to invade a neutral country, it will have serious consequences. Even some countries want United Nations to kick out Russia from the UN's permanent Security Council and even remove the seat within the United Nations as
Yeah.
response after their invasion. But it's unlikely that's going to happen, because if that really happens, there's no way to know for sure what Russia will do in against as response as a revenge. I mean, what if Russia decides to send out tons of bomb planes and start bombing United States, random places? Like, who knows? Maybe your state where Malachite lives, or even start to say bombing where Game Guy lives, or even simply as bombing the whole Washington D.C. to rubble. And but of what does saying to stop there?
I
What if
mean,
they
they'll
decide?
be in trouble because Washington is one of the important cities of.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, what if they decide? What if they want to stop with United States alone?
That
What?
true.
I mean, like this. I mean, what is this just this thing that they want you to stop with, just with America itself? What if America is just one of many targets? What if they decide to target every single country that has been helping and supporting and sanctioned against Russia? That would mean United Kingdom,
I mean,
Canada,
they did say that it
Sweden.
was.
Yeah, but here is the thing, though. Even if they were, I mean, what if Russia decides to bomb entire America to cripple its economics and to cripple its defenses, and decides to do the same thing with Canada, United Kingdom, Sweden, and would just? It's nothing to say that could happen, but I doubt it,
Yeah.
because why there's no reason for any country, Russia, to invade my country.
But there's something though. I mean, if they try to target one of our countries, I mean, both U.S. and my country has many like supportive countries as well, like from the other countries.
Yeah, but that's a problem. That's a problem. Even if that country, let's say if it's Canada, would be attacked by Russia, Even if they request this sort of support from America, sure, they will send all the available divisions and support, but it will take time. It's like they can't transport like say it's not just going to be sent. If let's say America sends 5,000 or 15,000 soldiers to Canada to help, but or and other supplies and other things that it requires, it will take time. And by that time, Montreal and even Quebec, other major port cities in Canada, could have been easily taken over, or
Yeah.
even completely ruined the bombs. Just imagine, like, cool. Have you seen Berlin after the Second World War?
Have I seen what?
Have you seen the state of how Berlin looked like after the Second World War?
I mean, I'm not really familiar with the Berlin history.
Well, Berlin was in complete rubbles. I believe it was under 80 or almost 90% of the whole town completely and almost wiped out.
Yeah.
And that can happen to any country in the world. Any country.
Yeah.
And, but like I said, I'm not even scared that that Russia had tried to threaten on my country. This is not the first time we have.
Neither do I.
And I don't understand where that. And okay, if Russia goes to a peace talk with Ukraine to make agreement to end this conflict, what if that Russia had only one demand, that the peninsula that they took over back in 2014 will officially be recognized belong to Russia, and those parts of the region of Ukraine in the in a Donbass region will also be recognized by every country in the world that they are as independent countries. But I doubt Ukraine's president will go with those terms. That since one thing, taking over this Korea Peninsula in Ukraine 2014 was it is completely illegal by international law. But
Yeah.
it hasn't even been taken care of.
Yeah.
And I mean, there is what Russia have been doing for past 10, almost 10, 20 years. This
Yeah.
still doesn't add up.
That's true.
Russia had tried to Here's the other thing. Russia, ever since Obama's time as a president and when Donald Trump became as president, Russia it is at least alleged that Russia was interfered with their America's election to
Hmm.
making a Russia. There's like the Russian hackers was trying to make Trump win the election instead.
Oh
Same
wow.
thing. Same thing has been alleged happening during the Sweden's elections for the past 10 or 20 years. But it's hard to say if it's true. I say Russia should not have been doing this to infect or shouldn't have been doing this. Just seeing how the world reacted towards Russia when they did this. They have the whole world against them. There are tons of sanctions of people, and there are companies, important people within the high ups in the government or in the industry have been sanctioned. And here's one thing that United States actually had done. They, with all the frozen assets, the banks or the assets that some of the rich Russians had in their accounts have been seized, and
Yeah.
that money that the United States took from those people will be used in order to support those Ukraine during the war. Just I really don't understand why anyone wants to do this.
Hmm. I mean, there is one big problem if Russia tries to go with that plan, because if they try to like target the other countries, I mean, Russia is just one country. So if every other countries are assemble against them, they will be screwed. They will get like exploded and all.
True, but still, why would Russia even want to try to do this? I mean, knowing that the risk that they now know that they have that done, they have the whole world against them.
That's
Think
exactly
about
my
it.
point.
And if they try to do something more, oh boy, if they try to take on over another country, oh, there's no way to say what's gonna happen
I mean,
otherwise.
correct me if I'm wrong, but every time like some of the countries try to take over other countries, it never end up well for them. I mean, look
Mhm.
what happened to the Germany after the World War II. They literally got screwed at the end.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it took years for Berlin being rebuilt after the war, and knowing how many people suffered, half of Germany was divided into United States and in Russia or Soviet.
Yeah,
But after that, and after 1989, when the Russians after the wall was torn down, and 1991 when the Soviet Union collapsed and was replaced with Russian Federation, which is still affected much today. And seeing how much Russia had also affected the most of the world, I mean, they were strong in economics. Before the Second World War, Russia didn't even have much of a big war industry. They were mostly a farm country. But during this just beginning of the Second World War and and onwards towards it, the whole country became more as an industry country. Just seeing only about less than a few years saying how much industry they had tons of people working in factories and supporting the country in the world. But yeah, it's just but ignore that you don't have any net problems as the Ukraine has. Let's talk about something else. That's just I'm done with that much crazy insanity. Sanity.
I mean, I can have
So
what
what you were
I heard
saying?
a huge whoa, but anyway, um, even though I can handle those kind of discussions, it might not be the case for most of the viewers that sees this. So yeah, it may be time to change the subject.
Yeah. So how's the weather over in Canada, Kubo?
It's going good.
I'd ask what how is the weather over there? Sheesh.
Now, sorry, I didn't hear the first part. Wait. Temperature. Um, what? -2 Celsius. Okay, that's specific.
Hmm.
I mean, in my where I am, it's currently -2 Celsius with 78% of precipitation, 89% of humidity, and wind 10 kilometers for hours.
Hmm.
Huh, I like how precise my temperature is for my country, but I don't know if it does the same for you guys when you watch temperatures. But anyway,
Yeah. Right here though, it's about the same temperature, just well at least what it says on the computer, but which I doubt it. I mean, for the past few days, I actually have seen flowers. I mean, spring flowers because for the past few days it has been warm enough to flowers have been showing up, and I've seen some trees has started, and even some bushes have started to start slowly blooming out their leaves. I was like, "Whoa, that's early." That doesn't even usually happen until like in late April for once. But that's the thing with the weather. You never know what's how it's going to be affected much as. Okay, who is on Discord?
On
Hey,
Discord,
man.
I mean, I don't have any notifications on my side. So, oh wait, it's mine.
You didn't hear that before?
Nope, I just heard it right now at this very second.
That is impressive. Yeah, maybe you should turn that off, or at least see what the heck's going on over there.
I don't even have any notifications. It's just like the Discord making noises for fun. Like there's no notification at all. Ugh. Dang it, Discord.
Yeah.
I'm water. No, I'm kidding.
So how's the weather? So how's the weather over there for you, the game guy? Cold, sunny.
No, it's a blizzard, so I'd say it's pretty cold. Don't know about you.
Well, right now is kind of actually. I wouldn't even know if this it's dark outside, so I wouldn't even know where, but probably about above zero and just decent cold enough.
Ooh, oh god.
Oh, come on.
I wonder what Mr. Malachite is.
Probably being an ass as always.
Well, I'm assuming that he is also be with his family, have this family game night that you usually do on Saturdays, or something else. I don't know. And it was a while since we saw Polarizer in here. Hmm.
Ooh la la, what the fuck?
So, any plans for the week? Next week?
What for next week? Well, I know I'm going to my farm, garden, and day camp. It's literally all those things at the same time. But anyway, um,
Yeah, for me though, I have well, not any particular plans. Just um, except for
hey,
work,
do you
bowling.
Swedish have winter sports where you are?
Uh, well, yeah, but I don't do any sports or winter sports. I
Huh?
had even tried some. I never been skiing either,
Huh?
or ice skates.
I mean, I don't do any
Actually,
sports either, but huh?
I even tried ice skating once, but nope, never again. Because my
Bad
feet hurts.
experience.
No, my feet hurts.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's no things for even Kubo to fit one because his feet are huge.
You
Because
don't even know that. How can you even know that? I never show you my feet.
it's a hunch. Because you're a Bigfoot.
Yeah, especially since feet are vomit inducing.
Also, at least you didn't call me a hobbit because that would be insulting.
Well, you are a friendly Canadian
He doesn't have
hobbit.
to. We already know you are.
No, I'm not. I'm not some fat elf kind of thing that just I don't even know what it do anymore. It's been a while I didn't watch that.
You're like from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I
Ooh.
don't remember what the
Oh,
Hobbit actually is.
I know exactly which character you would be in Lord of the Rings.
Oh no.
Gimli,
Who?
the dwarf.
Oh come on! I'm way too tall to be a dwarf.
And the game guy probably would be
I don't watch Lord of the Rings, so don't try.
probably Aragorn.
Actually, probably be Legolas or the guy with the sword.
Aragorn is the one with the sword.
Yeah, that one.
Uh, that one. Yeah, I don't even remember that name. But Legolas, yeah, that's something I could see a game guy got bit. At least one thing.
I
He
don't
would be
watch it,
old.
so you have to tell me is that good or bad.
Because
Legolas
he
is
does.
actually is a good guy. He's an elf, and he is actually in the Fellowship of the Ring. He is actually the second oldest of everyone. He is
And he's
actually
also
over.
an expert in bow and arrow.
Yeah, he is actually he's a master of archery. But he, like I said, he's the second oldest person in that group of people. I think he's around 3 or 4,000 years old.
So
While
here's a question for you, Swedish. If you were like
um,
in that kind of movie, would you prefer to use like a bow and arrow or like throwing knives?
bow and arrow.
I know it
Huh.
wasn't directed to me, but I'd say bow and arrow too.
Well, you get the expert answer too, so there you go.
Okay, Kubo. Uh, how old do you think Legolas is actually?
Hmm. It's certainly not 1,000 years old, so probably like in the hundreds, like 200, something like that.
200 years old?
Yeah.
Nope. He is 2,931 years old.
Dang it! So he was in the thousands.
Yep. And how old is Gandalf in The Lord of the
And
Rings?
now that's oh boy. I'm
Uh,
go-
uh,
I'm gonna
oh,
I'm gonna say 10 million years old.
not even close to 10 million, dude. But give a guess.
I don't know. He's so old. Like he's probably like more than a million.
Nope. Okay, I will give you a guess. Guess how Gandalf is, but I'll say it is between 2,000 and 30,000 years old.
Oh, so 2015. Like
Nope. Gandalf is actually 24,000 years old.
oh wow.
Yeah, according to this on the wiki that I actually came across, and that Legolas, the elf, is nearly 3,000 years old. It's not
Wait, hold on.
impossible, but
How come he looks that young if he's like that old?
elves have is the elves is immortal.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I can say this: if you know that Gandalf, Legolas is almost 3,000 years old, but
Yeah.
how about his father, the prince
I don't know
or the
that guy,
king?
so I don't know.
Um,
Though I
think
wonder
it
how
is
old Saruman is.
who?
Saruman.
Aaron, the other wizard.
Yeah.
Saruman. Uh, get it. Here we go. Saruman Um, According to this, 2019.
Oh, oh my
That was a
god.
good year. COVID didn't happen yet.
He's 2019 years old. Oh wow.
How about the elves? Especially the ones. Come on, where is that one? Um, wow. There's actually no wait. Wait, wait. I know exactly what one to look up. Um, he's actually not the son of that one, but but he has a daughter. Which are you serious? Oh my god. Oh my no. Uh, Aragon, please work. Dang it. Fellowship of the Ring. Here we go. Much easier to. Sheesh.
Ooh,
Okay,
okay, that's not cool.
Aragon,
What's not
the
cool?
king. The king. He was 210 years old when he died, but his wife is elf Arwen, which is the daughter of uh, Elroy. Elroy is what? Seriously? Elrond. There we go. For this one, Elrond is. I think this one is actually one. Yeah, Elrond is 6,520 years. And the elves. Let's see what they say about their species. Come on, where is it? Come on. Oh my gosh. Um. Okay. Here we go. Elves. Um. Lifespan near immortality. Since this and there is actually one way for an elf to lose their immortality. If they marries a regular man, a mortal, they will give up their immortality to be with a person. Otherwise, because you should imagine this: if let's say Kubo, if your girlfriend Sabrina were um, an elf, and if she was immortal and you weren't, she would outlive you and your kids all along. Or if the role was opposite, you would outlive all of her and oh boy. But
Oh no.
if you could actually have the chance to live forever, would you do it?
Of course I would,
And
but only
but
if like I can bring like other of my loved ones into the immortality. But yeah, I
wow,
would.
what about you, game guy?
Hmm. I feel like I wouldn't.
Well, I wouldn't say I wouldn't like to be immortal itself, but if I have a long lifespan, say
But you know what? I
maybe
always sounds funny. You know, like when immortals like just get stabbed and they just like think like whatever, like they don't even react. Like they're just like, huh.
well, I mean, this is possible though, considering it is there's another series that I had watched before, Vampire Diaries. Um,
Wait, I know that name, but
yeah,
I
it's
didn't watch it, but I know the name.
yeah, basically though vampires can actually been killed, and here's a slight problem with that. if the modern vampires, there is, if this is one of the original vampires, which was only, I think, 6 or 7 total, if they would have been, if they died by a white oak dagger or stake for the heart, the other vampires that would been uh, that was created by them sometimes afterwards also will die. And there is in the vampire diaries. There's actually a werewolf vampire hybrid. Even sirens exist.
Hmm.
Wow, nearly 2 hours. Yeah. So, but the next from Friday on 2 weeks, it's gonna be the next game show stream all about Pokemon. It's gonna be around 90 plus questions total. Man, I'm tired, and I'm not going to sleep yet. Um, Kubo, have you seen any of the Lord of the Rings?
I've seen the first one.
What about you, Brony? Have you seen any on the Lord of the Rings?
How comes Brony's always silent?
Hmm.
Just because he's
I
always
mean,
muted.
no,
He's
no,
not
he's not.
muted at the moment.
No, he isn't.
He might just be busy
Um,
right now. No.
I have seen all of the Lord of the Rings movies, all three of them, and they
Though
were
I
actually
always
made.
like
They
I
were
always
actually recorded. They were actually made the same year.
though I always like the soundtrack when Gandalf falls with the creature thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right after the Usano patch scene.
Mm-hmm. I
I
haven't
mean,
even
what?
though I haven't even seen all of the Hobbits, but most of them actually.
I never watched any of the Hobbits.
But I have seen the original Hobbits from the 70s, which were a cartoon version. Um, I think so. I do wonder if I should add a Lord of the Rings quiz.
I mean, I wouldn't really know anything about except like the first movie subject, but
And if you would ask me, I would even not much either. I mean, unless if you read about it.
I mean, to me, it's like the same thing that as if you like make Gengai make a like an anime game show. Like you wouldn't know anything about it. No offense, dude, but
Yeah,
Hey,
I mean, I don't
Hey,
know
when
much.
you're right, you're right.
Well, I mean, I don't know much either about the animes. Well, depends on which.
on
I
my
mean, I've
side,
seen.
I only know like Dragon Ball and Naruto. It's the only ones that I actually watch.
I haven't really seen Naruto or much as Dragon Ball Z or any of the Dragon Balls, to be honest.
Yeah,
Even My Hero Academia was not much as I would like to either see. I saw probably 6 or
but
7 episodes all.
here's something that's kind of funny when you like compare like MLP to animes because remember the season 4 finale with the battle with Twilight and Turek?
It was not season 9.
Well, actually, there was also the season 4 finale where Twilight was fighting Turek in like that really epic.
Oh, you mean in Twilight's Kingdom episode?
Yet Well, that battle, what I believe, was referenced to Dragon Ball style fights, because in Dragon Ball, it's literally the same thing happened.
Hmm. I didn't know that. Though, considering of how I've mentioned the G5 or G4, just yeah, and there were actually a good reason why I didn't do any much stories based on the G5 after it came out at first, since there weren't that much. Um, since we only had a handful of ponies by the names, like the main five, uh,
Yeah,
Sprout's mother and the queen of Sip and Pip and all that. And still, there was tons of other background characters, but there was no any official names or even nicknames. Else, they
I
could
mean,
either been they could have been either been named as unnamed stallion and scene, and
I,
especially one of the characters named Dahlia, she appeared
yeah.
in the first movie. I mean, I couldn't. I mean, what if I did do all the main five as a love stories and a few others? Then what?
You
I
mean
have
all them
done.
you five together?
I mean, like I did with Sunny Issy. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
if I had done all the main five with, let's say Hitch with Pip, Hitch with Zip, and with Sunny, and Hitch with, I don't know, Sprout or something like that. And if I'd done all the main five and other those few background characters, then what? I had used all the any potential available pairs that could be done for at the time when G5 came out. I had to wait. I had to wait some for more
Okay.
time until the Netflix series started, since it would have brought um,
Okay.
more
Okay.
options.
Bye.
And just considering when I made that, and when the web series Tell Your Tale came out, it also had open up potentials. And since that was the main reason why I didn't do any as much stories back when the G5 came out. Because if I had done all those available potentials that already were at the time, and if people ask me to do that story, and I was like, um, I, I'm like, I don't have done that story, and there aren't no any much more potentials at any potential pairs at the time. I mean, unless I'd made any, uh, like say, if Twilight came back, if she was still alive the whole time, but just came back, she had been living maybe as an exile or something, and that she fell in love with Sunny and all that. And like I said mentioned yesterday, because I asked my girlfriend, but what about if I did a love story between uh, Queen Haven with Sunny? That would not work because of age gap, and her daughters would be weirded out knowing that their best friend is dating their mom. Just imagine that, man, is the
Yeah.
scene. And now we have the first movie came out, then the second short movie, and then the Christmas special, and the web series, and the Netflix series. There are
Yeah.
many more. There's now we have more potentials, and since the next chapter will be presumably released sometimes maybe before summer, perhaps. That will open new doors, potentials of new characters, maybe new shippings ideas, and potential for love stories and or any official love stories and from the show itself. We have no basic understanding if it's going to be happening. Just considering from that and many from back when the series started, there were no much any potential of. There were only less than a handful of stories potentials. Then what? There were not much any. If anyone like, oh yeah, you can do that one, and like, okay, done, 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 all, and then, oh boy, lots
Yeah.
of potentials. It's just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
I
say,
mean,
I mean, it was like someone is like Kubo with Kiara done, Kubo with Kyle done, Kubo with Rainy the queen,
He's just saying as an example, by the way.
I know.
or Zany with $20,
That I want it. That one I do want.
or Zany with Rarity Star.
Nah. Oh no, they wouldn't get along. Zany is annoyed by Zany is really annoyed by Gemstone.
Or Kuvo with Game Guy.
Oh god, no.
No!
I mean, I respect him and all, but no. We're not as close as that. We're close as brothers,
Listen,
but not as lovers.
listen, Swedish, I'm desperate for love, but I'm not that desperate.
I mean, I do love him as a brother, but not as a lover. Definitely not. Wait, I just rhymed. Shit.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I should probably end here soon.
Yeah.
Already to 2 hours.
Huh.
Well, next time the stream will be Friday next week, as always. Well, this has been fun.
Yep.
Well, see you all next time. See ya. Bye.
And don't forget, stay chaotic.
And stay away from Kubo's insanity.
And goodbye.